Welcome back to the Millennial Classics, y'all. My name is Q. On this show, we talk about the best and most memorable movies, books, ladies and gentlemen, and culture-changing events of our generation. Our book guest, Mbonga, here with us. How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing good. It's a long time in waiting, you know what I'm saying?
That's right. But we're back at it. See, these books, it takes a little bit more effort. It takes a little bit more time to ingest. Mbonga, what book are we doing today? And why do you think that this book is a millennial classic?
The book we're doing is Children of Time. And I think it's a millennial classic because it's pretty different from the typical sci-fi books that you usually find, and the POV that you get from this book is very different from what you usually see.
It's an exploration in empathy in like the deepest levels, right? Because the thing that they're trying to empathize with you is the spiders. But right out the front of the start of this pod, I do want to let you guys know this book is a sci-fi book. It's super in depth. So we basically are breaking this review of Children of Time into two pods, into two episodes. This first one is going to be about the humans and the humans only. The next one we do are going to be about the spiders. And because we are splitting it up this way, the human aspect of this book goes all the way up until the beginning of the war. So we won't touch anything about the war. If you have seen anything, spoiler alert, the spiders and the humans go at each other. But we're just going to talk about the human experience from the beginning of the book all the way up until the war. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, a true millennial classic. It was released on 2015. So it's current. It's for us. And it was written by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I'll talk a little bit about Adrian Tchaikovsky over here. Before I get into it, how did you like the writing style?
You know, when I read this book came out after the Expanse series.
Yes.
So I always compare the two because it's like a couple of years between the two. This writing, let me say, is way better than the Expanse. It's not like, you know, the hard sci-fi.
Yeah.
Like when you classify it, it doesn't get as in-depth technically as Expanse does. So I like it a little bit better. So for me, I would put this book slightly above the Expanse series.
I like that comparison because that's probably the only other series I've read, like the only entire other series and sci-fi series that I've read. I'm not going to lie to you because I feel like I have to understand sci-fi a little bit more because I thought that they did get pretty technical in the sciences, but you're saying other sci-fi books get super more technical than this?
Yeah, there's like delineation between hard sci-fi and soft. This is like right on the edge, really. Okay. Some of these books go like you need like a PhD or something.
It's just to understand where the story is going. Yeah.
Like I get it. It's a spaceship. Like
the way you describe that, I always go back to because the only real hard sci-fi book I've ever read was the Three Body Problem, and there were chapters in that book where you literally don't know what's going on. Yeah, it was so difficult, so difficult, and it wasn't just you, Mbonga, but many other people said that the translation is very difficult from Chinese because there's just concepts in China that they use to describe concepts in science that us in the West don't use. Right? It's the same science, is just a different viewpoint of it, and then trying to switch between the two languages made it very difficult. But anyways, back to Adrian Tchaikovsky. Number one, he's a British fantasy and science fiction author. He is best known for his series The Shadows of the Ect, and I think they have like 6 or 7 books in that series. By the way, Adrian Tchaikovsky is, when I say prolific, it's prolific in a way I don't know how to describe, right? He is insane, dropping at bare minimum a book a year since like 2006, and some years more than one book, some years a book and a novella. He's a co-writer and he helps out with a bunch of other folks. He's a
so what you're saying is that he has no life.
I guess not. Best known for his first series, The Shadows of the Ect, and for this novel that we're doing right now.
That's more like it's like a fantasy series or something, right?
Very much so. Yeah, I looked it up. It's all fantasy. It's hardcore fantasy, but it has a lot of bugs in it. In that fantasy book, the fantasy series, the very little research that I did is basically humanoids. Like there's different sects of humans, but each sect of these fantasy humans are like there's a beetle human and a spider human and all the different insects, like a larva human, all these crazy things. So he's very much into the insect world. And it all began as a child for him. And it says here that he studied both zoology and psychology at the University of Reading. And then he's gotten a bunch of awards, but the award specifically for this series, The Children of Time, Children of Time was awarded the 30th Arthur C. Clarke Award in 2016, the year after it came out. And then the British Science Fiction Association Best Book winner in 2019 was for The Children of Ruin, which is the second book in this series.
Have you read the second one?
Yes, I have read the second one. Have you?
I actually have not.
Okay. And then there's a third one. The second one is The Children of Ruin, and I think the third one is called The Children of Memory. What we usually do, Mumbunga, I want you to judge the book by its cover, and this is the only book cover I saw.
I'm a huge judge of book by its cover guy. This one right here, great. Already got me. The planet, the ship, I know what's happening.
It's simple and it gets to the point. I like that.
And it doesn't hurt that it has that winner of the Arthur C. Clarke.
yeah. You gotta shine, baby. You gotta shine. And this is something I just added to like our run up. I promise right after this we're gonna get into the book. But Mumbunga, if someone walks up to you right now and asks you, "What's a recent book that you read? Should I read it?" I want you to answer that question, but specifically for this book. Mumbunga, what book have you read and should I read it?
The book I'm reading right now, it's the same author.
Oh, shit.
His new series, Shards of the Earth. I like it a lot. It's more like traditional sci-fi, aliens.
Do you like fantasy at all? Like, is there any plan ever for you to read Shadows of the Apt? Because that's like the book he's most well known for, but it's also the longest series and it's the first book. Right. Do you like fantasy at all?
I read, I'd say a good amount of fantasy. I mean, the other book I'm reading is murder, mystery, Anthony Horowitz book. I'd say like those three genres are
your go-tos.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd read Shadows of the Apt because I'm not too strong on bugs.
Yeah.
Bugs being the main character. Like even this book was definitely way better reading it the second time than the first time I read it.
100%. I definitely agree with that. All right, let's get into this book. The novel begins on the ship called Bryn 2. Avarna Kern looks over a green planet that she secretly calls Kern's World. Kern's World, along with many other planets, are part of a terraforming project that will allow the humans to colonize outside of Earth. For Kern, however, her planet is an experiment on life and evolution as she plans to release a barrel of monkeys alongside an advanced nanovirus to see if they can evolve intelligent like humans.
This is maybe the worst named ship I've ever heard. Bryn 2.
I know.
It's so terrible. Especially since this book has one of the great ship names.
Yes.
In Gilgamesh.
Yes, but that is a great ship.
Starting off with Bryn 2, I almost put this book down.
Yeah, Sterling was like, on name alone, this motherfucker's going in flames. The reason I really like the opening to this book is because it's the kind of sci-fi that I'm super into. Can we as human beings, and I know this sounds super egotistical, but from the eyes of Kern, can we not be gods, but
she wants to be a god.
Yeah, ensue life into other species so they can become human-like, or can we assist life's process but make like quickening it so they can become like sentient and conscious and all of these things that we like to consider humans only have? I really enjoyed that aspect, but it really hits you over the head with that aspect because Kern over here is God is like how she describes herself, So
she's like minute one, she's like, I'm here to become a god. How did they let this woman onto the ship is my question.
The entire thing is her idea.
However, as she prepares to release the monkeys and the sentry pod that will orbit and observe the planet for a year, a man named Sterling, meant to ride the pod, starts a conversation from the engine room. There he reveals that he is an agent of a group called the Nuns, who believe that the only life in the galaxy should be on Earth and despise Kern's idea to create a new species. Unable to save her crew, Kern rushes to the sentry pod and releases it and her experiment.
When you read this book for the first time, the quickness in which he's like, I fuck this thing, I'm out, and like jumps into the head dips is
like an immediate.
It's the right decision because there was no other way for anyone else to survive. But like doing that math and like that emotional pressure that quickly is, she's like, all right, this dude's about to blow the whole thing up. Let me go save myself and my experiment. Deuces to the rest of the crew.
How do you send the best of the best, right? And he's still sending terrorists. what is a screening like to get on the ship, bro? You got somebody with a god complex and terrorists. That's why I kind of wish maybe like at the beginning we got maybe a chapter or two of like Earth like going to shit and like crumbling and whatever that extension event was, and then them getting on the ship and then going straight to like cryo sleep or whatever.
Makes sense. No, I think that would have been helpful, especially to understand, because the virus that is about to happen over here, the people that are anti whatever the hell, like cryo sleep, going to other planets type shit, like you have to believe that these people are insane.
The way I saw it was like they were for like colonizing planets. They just didn't want to create new species
or use the nanovirus on other monkeys.
Right. So would he have popped up and blown those monkeys if they were just like, oh, let's just land on this planet and start living? You know
exactly. But with that question comes the fact that the virus that they sent kills everything everywhere. It's so hard to want to even allow that, because they did have terraforming units all over the solar system. I mean, the galaxy. They had those terraforming ones. So those terraforming ones you would assume would have, this is other planet-like places that human beings can be, versus not everyone is doing the nanovirus thing. And they were like, fuck everybody.
If I remember correctly, they wanted only Earth to have humans,
yeah, something like that. However, due to Sterling's meddling, the monkeys burn up in the atmosphere and the ship is destroyed. Kern uploads a part of her brain into Pod system and sets a distress signal, which she knows will not be answered for at least 40 years. The AI of the pod, named Eliza, puts Kern into cryosleep. So we talked about the fact that the nuns, that group of people, are crazy, right?
What's the end goal? I mean, we're led to believe that Earth is like overrun by something, or like everyone there is dead, right?
No. I think at this point,
I'm saying at this point. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At this point.
What do you mean? Like 40 years after she gets into the pod?
No, I'm saying when we're first introduced, right?
Into the book.
Yeah. At this one, once you've read to this point, you're led to believe that Earth is like something going on, right? So what's this terrorist organization like? What's their end goal?
So like so I think maybe I was misunderstood, because I think like when we meet up with the Holston folks, the Earth is destroyed. There's nothing worth staying on Earth for. But I feel like at Kern's point, this is like a scientific like exploration type shit.
No, you're right.
So there's nothing going on, but there is a civil war going on between human beings and like just the concept of like seeding life on other planets. Like I think that was the big question. So a couple of quotes here, just two quotes that I have here in this intro section. Dr. Avrana Kern, when she's looking down at the planet, it says, Dr. Avrana Kern now looked out upon it and thought only of Kern's world. Her project, her dream, her planet. The first of many, she decided. This is the future. This is where mankind takes its next great step. This is where we become gods.
I had that exact same quote. I think I only pulled like two quotes from this.
Yeah.
So I pulled one for the humans, one for the spiders. And like this was my quote for the humans.
And isn't it just an epic quote though? Like, I mean,
it's so good.
It's so good is an understatement, just because like if we ever get to that point of humanity, we can make a virus that would enhance the evolution of another species. If God is anything, if God is the creation, the start of the first move or whatever, you have to put us in a subcategory of that description.
Got it, Jason, bro.
Huh? Exactly.
Got
it, Jason. Because traveling that distance, doing the whole cryo sleep, that is like sci-fi basis of every sci-fi book. But getting to the place where we can like start life, that is epic levels of shit.
Isn't that like what the dude's trying to do in Guardians 3?
Guardians. Oh yeah. Oh, exactly. The evolutionary. Right? That's exactly what he's doing.
He's trying to be a god. Yeah.
He's trying to be a god, but he does it in a really fucked up way. The second quote that I had was, while Sterling is giving his speech, Kern is thinking. This is while Sterling is saying, oh, like, Kern, you're being crazy. While he's giving the speech, she's not even listening, but what she's thinking just made me laugh so hard. She's like, be a good monkey and finish up soon, Searing. some of us have legacies to build. It's just, you just feel a level of her ego that is beautiful.
Yeah, the hubris.
The hubris, crazy. It's just insane.
It tells you everything you need to know about the character.
Exactly. Because she's over here, like he's giving the speech saying, I'm going to blow up the ship. And she's not even understanding it because she's so in her head, monologuing the greatness of who she is.
14 years later, Kern is awakened to learn that an electronic virus wiped out every device in the known galaxy and that all transmissions from Earth have gone silent. Eliza tells Kern that they survived because of Kern's upload, which made them immune to the signal. However, this means that Kern is trapped in the Sentry Pod for an unknown amount of time. Tell me, would you make that choice? To essentially become like immortal?
That is the epic question. Coming off of the last quote that I just read, like some of us have legacies to build. Mm-hmm. Kern is the type of woman that trusts no one to make the decision but herself. And she's at that point where she's like, I'm smarter than an AI, but she thinks that she's the best decision maker there is. And she's like, if this AI can't upload a part of me, by all means do so, because it's only going to make the AI better.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That is exactly it. Right? she's making a supercomputer smarter.
Exactly. Because that's what I feel she feels. That's exactly how I feel.
That's the confidence you need.
Yeah. This is the greatest computer ever made. Put me in there. I can make it. Lamenting the failure of her experiment and the senseless violence on Earth, Kern tells Eliza to wake her up when she feels she needs to, which Eliza agrees to. However, unbeknownst to Kern, the nanovirus survived the fall on the planet and has begun the process of evolution in the species of spider, with the very first spider, Portia, laying the first nanovirus-infected eggs that the narrator says will grow and take the world for themselves.
This is the spot where the first time I read this book, I paused. It was like maybe like a 2-week pause.
Yeah, okay.
It's really hard to picture or to see the story going further at this point.
Yeah.
But good thing I picked it back up because
exactly. And it is a really cool situation. But we are assuming that the planet has been because we know that the planet was terraformed and it got to its final level, and that's why she's sending down the monkeys, right? So do we think that these are human brought spiders, right?
I thought they were just spiders that had just evolved, however they terraformed it. These are just there were already animals. Actually, you know what? They have to be human brought because there's also like mice and like other
exactly
and everything, right? They must have like dropped them down there.
If we are terraforming a planet, let's pretend that we go ahead and try to terraform Mars. Like, would we send like spiders and mice and shit?
Of course. And then what are you gonna eat, bro?
Yeah.
I need some cows at least, bro.
No. You're definitely right. The evolutionary scientists, so whoever, like the geologists and all of that thing, they must understand that having animals help, like with the bees and the pollen and whatever, to spread the terraforming, so it's very, very real, Earth-like. That is a question. I was like, why would you send fucking spiders, bro? Like,
I think we can do without like anacondas,
mosquitoes, and snakes. Like thanks, but no thanks.
Maybe no lions and tigers.
Just
nothing that can kill humans. Let's start there. Anything from Australia, just leave it in Australia.
I wouldn't mind a kangaroo.
Where were we? 2,000 years later, classicist named Holston Mason is awakened by an engineer named Issa Lane because they have intercepted an unknown signal. He is taken to the ship's commander, my guy, Guyen, Guyen, who asks Holston to translate it. After some time, Holston recognizes it as a distress signal from the old empire, coming from the exact location that their old star map said an inhabitable planet would be. Guyen says that we'll all return to cryosleep until they arrive at the planet. Holston and Lane stay awake longer and end up sleeping together before going back to their cryopods. This is what you had said earlier of you said they terraform this planet, right? I thought that when she arrives there and she's sending those monkeys down, it's a livable planet at that point, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you can't send your monkeys with the virus if it's unlivable. Like, what would the plan be, right?
Right.
The entire idea from like the Holston ship is that they are basically using all of the scrap information they got from the Empire. right?
From
And
the old civilization.
Old civilization. So they could have just gotten a map of the old civilization, but the map they got said that this planet hasn't been terraformed yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But in Kern's time, it was terraformed, and that's why they were doing. That's the understanding that I got from Adrian Tchaikovsky's perspective. Why have the human protagonist be a linguist, a classicist in this book's term? Right. Why do you think he made that decision? Because I'm not going to lie to you. When you said my guy Guyon, I wanted to know a little bit about my guy Guyon.
Yeah, like if I, honestly, to be honest, if I was writing this book, my guy would be like a space soldier or something. You know?
Exactly. And Issa Lane.
I think that's a cliched. So I like that he was a linguist. Man, this man gets captured like 16 times. This man's a walking hostage.
Yeah. Constantly, this dude is just come with me, do this, do that, and the motherfucker says yes every time.
Yes, every time, everybody convinces him to do something every single time. I'm like, dude,
come on, bro. When you said that, like you would have been like a space shoulder, so I'm thinking like your main character would have been either Guyon or Karst, who's like the security guy.
Karst definitely would have been, I think, the main character.
But like even keeping it to like just the outside of a soldier, I thought Issa Lane. I know she's like basically like the protagonist here, like she's shares the spotlight, but she could have also been a pretty cool protagonist. But like you said, this is very different. The fact that we're using a linguist, right? Obviously, like we need him to communicate with Kern.
I understand why he went with linguist, because he has to translate everything
exactly
from the Empire.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you could have done like just like a side paragraph each time and been like, oh yeah, we just translated this. Here
exactly. We got Holston out of we got the hostage out again, and he translated it for us. A good bad part about having Holston be the main bad guy here is he wakes up at all of these random times and he gets all of like the pertinent information, because it's like this is we're moving forward and we need this information to know how we're going to move forward. So it's nice in that way, but also
he's not important enough to be part of the decisions, but he's also just important enough where you need information from him.
Exactly. So we always get like the most important information through him, which is a good thing. But I also had another question, because at this point we are basically going back and forth between the spiders and the humans. I know you said in the beginning, hearing that the spiders were the ones who received the nanovirus put you off some. I don't want to get into the details about the spiders. We'll do that next time. But I do want to ask you, when did you start getting into the spiders? Did you have a better time following the spiders or the human story?
At the beginning, the human story. But then by the time I finished this book, I was rooting for those spiders.
Yeah, right? The motherfuckers, they're like
I was rooting for them the entire, by the time I get to the end, I'm all in on spider culture.
2 years later, Holston is awakened again alongside all of the key crew. Guyon, who is the captain, informs them of the planet they have reached, explaining that it is a terraforming project of the old empire and meant to be their home. While the other crew are skeptical, Holston confirms that there is proof of these projects, and Guyon says they must approach the planet. Holston then works with Lane to try to decipher the signal that they're receiving from the planet.
Holston knows the language, but cannot figure out what response the signal wants to speak with them. As they work to figure it out, Holston realizes the signal is bouncing off of the planet itself, implying that there may be life on the planet. At Lane's request, Holston sends the same distress back out, which silences the signal.
When we become these space traveling species, right, and we're going to other solar systems, and if we get to a solar system or a planet that we are seeing like these vague radio signals and such, and we are going to meet them there first, they're not coming to us, we're going to them. What do you think the first message from human beings should be to them?
If I was in charge, I'll be like, my dream team is gonna be like Trump, because I am lying through my teeth that we got like a fleet of like 1,000 ships. We got the best technology. We know, everything that I can think of. It's gonna be the biggest lie ever told.
Just to let them know.
Just to let them know that we in charge.
Fucking insane. But then the second they find out that they're not in charge, and you see, like these motherfuckers don't have the million ships. But the thing is, it's like I like the idea of Kern. I'm gonna send this primitive civilization math problems. When they figure it out, at least I know in my head.
The same thing with three body problem.
When they send math problems like equations.
Yeah, they also send math problems.
Yeah, they do. But the three body problem, they send equations on top of sending their manifesto of taking over the fucking planet. So it's hand in hand. It's like, figure this out, but also we're gonna come kill you. Okay. Yeah. My gut says we come in peace, right? I know that's super cliche, but my sending math problems makes the most sense to me because number one, you get a sense of where they are signed, like intelligence wise, and on top of that, then you can use the math to communicate in some way, shape, or form, right?
But here's the thing: by the time someone is showing up at your planet, right, there's only one thing they want, and that's a resource.
That's right, bro.
So there's no coming in peace unless you're just ready to like give up. Like, we're gonna give up Asia.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna give up South America. That's all yours. We're in peace.
It's a good point because that's exactly what the Holston's crew is trying to do at this point. They're trying to find a planet to settle on. It's not like we come in peace and we're gonna just say hi and bye. No, we're gonna live here.
Holston begins to transmit back and forth with an AI named Eliza. He quickly realizes that there's a second, more erratic transmission alongside Eliza, which seems confused as to where she is or what is happening to her. Eliza tells them they are not welcome on the planet before Kern herself takes over the Gilgamesh's systems and appears on their screen.
She tells them that she will not allow them to disrupt her experiment, calling them a worse type of monkeys. She offers to send them to another planet, which Guion begrudgingly agrees to. Once Kearns leaves the Gilgamesh, Karst security reveals images he got of the planet's surface when his drone is killed by a massive spider, even though Kern is told that she was experimenting on monkeys.
That's what I'm saying. One quick thing, because I know you put the question of the who would you cast in the movie, and I had some black people on it. And I was like, we can't be having Kern calling people monkeys. Like 3 times, bro.
Like, I know in the book they do like a 2-sentence line thing where Kern is like, how long can we survive in this cryo? When she's talking to Eliza prior to her going to sleep for the first time, and she's like, we use the sun's energy and that's how we're going to be feeding you. We really don't know how long we can last, but we can last a very long time. Mm-hmm. And then obviously you heard M'Bunga say when he was reading the beginning of the Holston era, he said 2,000 years later. It's insane to think about that she's been in space that long. If Kern was more human at this point and less robot, and she wasn't in this in-between space where she couldn't see and like fighting with herself with the second erratic transmission underlying like the AI translation, do you think she would have been like, okay, you guys could have landed?
I think I think if it was strictly AI, they would have been able to land. Because Kern is in there and she knows humans, she's like, nah. Nah.
That is actually crazy.
Who you know around here? Who you know here? We're gonna come in charge.
The thing that Kern is thinking about when she originally goes to sleep, and like the inciting incident that caused her to go to sleep was, fuck these humans. I'm trying to build a greater version of consciousness, of intelligence with my monkeys on my planet. Fuck these humans.
Civilization.
Yeah, she's like, fuck these humans. I'm trying to do something bigger and better. And the humans have caused me to slow down, have gotten in my way every step of the way. In this book, the AI is the kinder version of the two interlocutors here. Which is crazy.
You haven't seen the new John David Washington movie, The Creator?
Not yet.
Ooh, that's AI.
It's on the list. What Kern is telling the entire Gilgamesh ship, the last remaining human beings, what she's telling them to do is so fucked up here, M'Bunga. Like, it was painful to read, to hear something that used to be human tell the last vestige of humanity to fuck off. It's the craziest thing.
First time I read it, I was with you. Second time I read it, I was like, get away from my spiders, bitch. My dudes need to live.
At this point in the spider evolution, if the humans did end up landing, I think the spiders would have gotten... Yeah, they would have gotten smarter and all of that stuff, but it would have been like spiders running back into the cave and their evolution. Mm-hmm. Like the story would have been so much more drastic. The story would have been like humans own the planet and they're like the fucking kings, and like they ride on these spiders because they're big enough and shit. But the spiders would have become intelligent.
It becomes Planet of the Apes.
Exactly.
Holston is awakened by a group of mutineers that refuse to be sent to the moon colony Guion has decreed for them. The leader, named Scholes, takes Holston to Lane before explaining with the help of a woman named Nessel that the moon colony is a death trap and Guion is only forcing him to go for his own ego. When Guion refuses to negotiate, Scholes and his crew take Lane and Holston to a shuttle, and they launch towards Kern's world despite none of them knowing anything about Kern or the spiders.
What are your thoughts about Guyon's plan of leaving people on the moon?
I wish that they said who named this ship, because he is like Gilgamesh reborn in this.
Exactly.
Is his plan bad? Yeah, his plan is bad. I mean, they can't live on this moon. Yeah. So they're literally just sending people to their deaths, which he confirms later.
They do, and I did appreciate this about Adrian Tchaikovsky in the actual book. They go into the records to see like why each person got the position they got. And when they were describing Guion, I think this actually happens much later, Lane tells Holston, the reason Guion is our captain is because he's the best at doing the long-term plans. What other characteristic would you want for the last of humankind?
But that doesn't show up like throughout this book. All his plans are just terrible. Somehow he convinces Holston each and every time.
Yeah, no, because I thought it was a horrible plan too. You can't just do that. Yeah. You really just can't. I wish I knew what the time frame was from like the first time Holston wakes up till the time they get back to like the war.
We do know the first time they get to the planet and leave, and then the second time they come back is 1,000 years or something.
Yeah, I don't know, because the only thing I know is after they beat Guion to the time they get to the planet for to finally settle, that's 3 generations of human being, because Lane has trained 3 generations, which you have to think is like 50 years each, which is 150. But I don't know if that's like.
I think those generations are shorter too.
I really don't know, but I really would like to know. Like, I really would like to.
I wish there was a timeline or something.
Exactly. I know that there's those folks who get into the nitty gritty of the details of the book. So if you in the comment section, if you can let us know the time frame throughout this book, like that would be the pinned comment. That's something I really, really wanted to know in this book. Karst follows them in a separate shuttle, and Kern contacts them, aware that they are fugitives. Holston tries to reason with her, but works with Lane to confuse her with a picture of the spiders, allowing them to reach the atmosphere. However, the shuttle splits into 2 and plummets to the surface below.
Holston wakes up on the planet's surface. When they send someone to check the air, they are attacked by a horde of ants and spiders, with an ant that explodes inside the shuttle. They are forced back into the old cargo bay when Karst arrives and demands the return of Lane and Holston.
Once recovered, Karst shoots all of the other mutineers and says they must leave the planet or Kern will destroy them. Nessel escapes and is later captured by the spiders, who study her and the other dead humans that they call giants, believing them to be a gift from the messenger for their success. Talking about just being afraid of spiders. Imagine landing on a planet with spiders.
It's the spiders and the ants, right?
Yeah, the spiders and the ants. So the ants are much bigger. I think I remember
they have to be bigger than regular ants. They have
100%, because I think I remember in the description of that chapter when they land, he's saying that the spiders were the size of their palm. I mean, not the spiders. The ants were as big as the palm. The spiders were like a meter long, but I don't know if that's just like the body, and then they have the 8 legs.
That's the way I saw it. Was the body was a meter long, and then the legs,
extensions. Because just with that, it must be the scariest fucking thing in the world. I think
this is one of my top 2 favorite parts of the book, is this landing. This is an all-time section, first of all, for sci-fi. I think 100%.
When they land and then they just meet the spiders and go ahead.
And everything goes to shit.
Everything
goes to shit before they even land.
Exactly.
This is peak.
It's so much adrenaline. Things are moving, and it's like, holy shit, what's going to happen? Like, you really think, holy shit, is Holston going to be on the planet the entire time? How are they going to get these two dudes off? There's just so many questions when this is happening.
This is also for me where it flipped, and I started rooting for the spiders. We've been doing the alternate chapters all throughout. Spider-Human, Spider-Human. At one point, you forget that they're spiders, though, especially in the way this book and the way it's written. They're very human.
Yes.
Right, with emotions and everything. And then to get to this part, and then it's terrifying, but at the same time, they're like stepping on these spiders, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, don't do that. Come on, man.
So for me, this is the point where I switched. Another thing is there really hadn't been that much action.
Minimal,
especially for a sci-fi book. I mean, I'm all there for the existential and the philosophical. But we're in space. I need something.
Coming right off of this, right before this, going back to the spiders, and we'll get into the details of the next episode we do on Children of Time. The spiders just won the biggest ant war. So if you wanted action, the spiders was giving it to you. All the humans were doing was trying to decide what to say to Kern.
After leaving behind an unwilling group of colonists on the moon, arrive at another unwilling colonists. Yep. After leaving behind an unwilling group of colonists on the moon, arrive at another project they call the Gray Planet. Vitas explains that it is inhabited by a fungus that consumes everything it touches, and they cannot possibly colonize here. My guy Guyen is most interested in the old Empire technology, telling his crew to equip the Gilgamesh with anything they can.
In secret, Guyen forces Holston to work on a secret project, taking him to the furthest reaches of the station. Lane helps Holston in secret as she does not trust Guyen. They find a device that Holston translates as a type of uploading machine. This excites Guyen, but it is not until dinner with Lane that Holston realizes that there is proof of a machine working in the fragment mind of Kern.
I don't know about you, but I had questions here. How they just now working out that there's a machine working in the fragmented mind of Kern? When the first time they contacted her, it was the AI. Right?
That's exactly right. So that's the thing that I was like, wait a second. I thought that they knew right from the get. I know they kept on saying things like, give me your sister Eliza, or give me your partner. Let me talk to your partner Kern. I'm pretty sure they were talking about Kern as an AI robotic protecting machine. Because I think the majority of people there were basically like, this can't be human because this human being would have had to be alive for 2,000 years. I thought that was the original idea of what that satellite was, that they thought it was robot. So them now just in the book describing it as now just figuring out that it was fragments of a machine, I kind of don't believe it. You're Guyen. You see Kern, you understand that Kern is now immortal, or as close to immortal as you can be, and you see this uploading machine that looks exactly like the one Kern has. You do have the understanding that this machine has been 2,000 years just floating in space, and it might be fucking broken to as broken can be. Do you do what Guyen does? Again, questioning this Mr. Long-term detailed planner. Do you think his plan of uploading?
He's Mr. Gilgamesh. He's chasing immortality. It almost seems like this was always his plan. He was gonna find a way to do this anyway. What messes it up is he wants to be incorporated into the Gilgamesh.
Exactly.
That I think is where he starts going off.
Yeah, it's come on, man. Come on. Why is this the answer? Why he's only I can.
That's such a leap to make to jump straight to that. Would you go for immortality?
No, that's the thing. You can't go for immortality. The thing is, it's I understand Guyen's entire idea over here of being Kern's doing it. We have to go back. Because when I was first reading it, the second it said upload, I was like, all right, I know what they're doing. The second it said upload, I knew. And it's going to be a secret. And why is he just pulling Holston? He's Holston's not necessary for any of this. If you wanted help with the actual machinery, you should have had Lane or one of the engineers. But he wants to understand the details, so he brings over Holston. I don't know. If I was Guyen and I saw this planet and it's all right, we're going back to Kern's world, his decision to being well,
they have no choice.
Yeah, at this point is we have no choice. But if I'm seeing this old ship, the first thing I'm doing is, let's try to get all the weapons from this old tech so we can beat that fucking satellite and take Kern's world. I'm not trying to look for uploading shit that's going to fuck up the entire Gilgamesh. I don't even know how this works. It's It's been here for 2,000 years. Am I going to risk my being to get uploaded into the system? I think not.
They also never trying to fix that second ship, right? I mean, that ship that was there.
Yeah, they don't try to do anything to it.
Baffling decisions are made all around by Guyen.
Yeah. It's a long-term plan of my fucking ass.
Holston is awakened and placed in a cell on board the Gilgamesh, where hundreds of human cargo have been released and are beginning to multiply. After nearly a month of Manda's translation, Holston is captured again. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise.
But taken to Lane instead. She tells him that Guyen has created a cult from the awakened cargo, calling himself the savior. He wants to upload himself to the Gilgamesh, but Lane strongly believes this will crash the systems. Yeah, I strongly believe that too.
I strongly believe that too. I mean, come on, man. Come on. I mean,
he goes straight to cult.
Yeah.
And release. Why did they release the human cargo?
Yeah. I think like when they were describing Gilgamesh's. See, I'm even calling him Gilgamesh. When they were describing Guyen's, when Guyen was describing what he needed, he was like, in the beginning, I just kept awake a couple of the engineers that were just like, not the main engineers, not Lane, but just a couple. They couldn't figure it out. So that's when he called Lane. And when Lane figured out what he wanted to do, she was like, fuck this, I'm out. He had no choice because he had to stay awake. But like, you really did have a choice.
I feel like this is where we're missing the timeline, because however long it takes to go back to Kern's world, and you're starting to wake up people on the way there. That's craziness.
Exactly. And the distance, we know it's 2 light years away, but they never in the book tell us how fast these ships are moving. So we can't even do like the math in our head.
Guyen gets super old by the time
he gets very old. Yeah. Not even by the time they get to Kearns, because he doesn't make it to Kearns, remember?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he doesn't make it to Kearns. He barely gets there. When Carson Beatus refuses to help, Holston is captured a 3rd time, this fucking bum, but demands to speak to Guyen himself. The commander is incredibly old and living off of advanced life support. He tells Holston that he never intended for the project to take so long, and he hates the generations of lives wasted for this. However, he believes that he is the only person who can lead them to the green planet.
On his deathbed, the last thing this man does is still almost fool Holston. I mean,
he's the most gullible human being to ever fucking live.
Holston almost believes in him until Guyen reveals that everyone on the moon colony died, and he believes they deserved it. He then begins his upload, and Vitas allows it to happen until Lane shoots him in the head. With part of Guyen's brain in the system, Lane tells Holston to be safe as she struggles to keep Guyen under control. I
know that we're giving Holston a really shitty, and I know that we also said that the plan is bad, but that's like hindsight is 2020.
2020, yeah. I think we have to remember that he's getting woken up and then just thrust into all these situations.
Yes. I wish I marked down the actual speech that Guyen gives to Holston, because everything he describes about his plan and why it's necessary is super, super, super believable.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's so convincing. But like, even Holston figures out that this is the wrong thing to do, and he figures it out when I figure it out from the get. I was like, this is a bad idea. But when I'm convinced that Guyen's goal for the ship, Guyen's goal is for Guyen. It's not for the fucking good safety or moving forward of humanity. Yeah, it's for him. And the reason both Holston and I come to that conclusion is when Holston asks the right question. And that's what Holston does. He just asks the right question at the right time. When he asks Guyen, we saw the messages from the folks on the moon, the icy moon that you left behind, right? The moon colony. The first part of Guyen's answer was, I had no choice. What did you want me to do? To turn back to go try to pick them up? What was the expected goal? And even that answer was good. But then he couldn't help himself. He couldn't fucking help himself. Right after that, he's like, and they fucking deserved it. And I'm like, come on.
Why?
Yeah, he had me the entire way up until that last sentiment. He was like, and they deserved it, but they didn't deserve it. All right. We did read earlier when Karst came down to the green planet, he ended up shooting the rest of the mutineers. So the people that actually went down to the moon base, they were woken up from cryosleep and they were told, this is what you have to do at gunpoint. And they were like,
and they just tossed there.
Yeah. And then that's what happened. And they did everything they could do, and they kept on sending messages. So even half of Guyen's answer to what happened to the moon-based people, I understood. But when he made that last step to being like, they deserved it, it was like, dude, Like, what can, like, there's nothing we can do here.
I almost say, like, Guyen, just as bad as Kern. He wants to be, he
also wants to be, 100%.
The ship is his domain. He's now become the god of humanity. That's how he sees himself. Holston is awoken by an alien he does not recognize. They tell them that they are actually human descendants of the Key crew and that their grandmother is Lane. Holston meets his longtime love, who explains that Guyen's upload nearly destroyed the Gilgamesh, and she has been out for 15 years trying to repair the damage. She laments not being able to use Holston as support, but says she did not want to lose him as she grows old alone. She then reveals that they have a daughter currently cryosleeping as an embryo alongside hundreds of others. She asks Holston to go back to sleep so that he can help create a world on the green planet where their daughter can thrive.
That is where we are going to stop our review of this book, because we are just talking about the human beings right now. And then the next portion of the human beings is when they're at war with the spiders. And we'll do that at the end of the book, how the book concludes in our next chapter. A couple of things here. You know how they called her grandma, but she had a kid with Holston that she put on ice. So, and you can see the difference, right? At this point, Issa Lane is the captain of the ship. She's making
she's a true hero of these motherfuckers.
100%. She's the one making these big decisions, and you can see the difference, right? When people are going in and out of sleep and working for Guyen, they call him the chosen one, the savior, whatever, right? They call him God. People going in and out of sleep and working for Lane, they're calling her grandmother, which is much more like, bring yourself down to fucking earth if you possibly can in a situation like this, right? So on that alone, you understand it, right? Holston being told that they have a child together, so I need one of us to survive, and I'm not going to be able to, so go back to sleep. Is a
like waking up and being told that info and then being told go back to sleep. That's rough.
It is. It is rough. It is. It really, really is rough. I hate to be like cutesy papootsie, but I thought it was kind of beautiful. I really do.
It's not even the best romance in this book, bro. The spiders, baby.
It's not a bad point. It really isn't a bad point. But the way those spiders make love, it's like, let's make love. Give me your babies. I'm gonna kill you.
Kill you. Yeah. The spider society, bro. I don't think I'd survive. I mean, I definitely would not survive.
Of course, 100% not. Motherfucker, Fabian got killed millions of times.
My guy, Fabian, bro. Final thought. Actually, I did have one more quote for the first time Holston, when he wakes up and he sees the generations. And he describes them as like they're all thin, malnourished, underdeveloped. They wore their hair long, very long past the shoulders. The whole scene had a weirdly primal feel to it, a resurgence of the primitive days of mankind.
Yep.
And that just hammers in that spiders are getting better and better. These motherfuckers going in reverse.
Yeah, it really is. And it's, especially when you're reading these two evolutions side by side. It really is beautiful to see, because like if you're gonna judge intellect, you'll see, like, if you just put them side by side, the human beings are like generations ahead of the spiders. They're in a Gilgamesh ship. They're in a ship
from the starting point.
And they have these cryo sleep chambers and this whole nine. But like
even the technology that they say is ancient 2,000 years ago is way better. Miles better.
But just like the mindset of the spiders are moving forward, curiosity, how can we be better, versus the fucking human beings. It's like, no, I'm the savior. No, I'm the savior.
Do you think the spiders were end up the better civilization because of Kern? Or if Kern was not there with that human influence, how would that civilization have turned out?
The problem with that is I don't know how long it takes them to get to the place where they're trying to do the radio transmission, because their entire being starts out, and we'll talk about the details of this later, but it starts out with Portia stealing the rock that is basically metal that's receiving information. And then from there, they go to they grow exponentially, and all of their goal is to answer those questions. I think they probably would have been just as smart and all of that stuff, but the speed at which they got to space travel, I think Kern helped immensely. A couple of things that I wanted to show you, Mombunga, is because I did use Midjourney, that AI generated thing, just to show a couple of the passages that I really, descriptive passages that I really like. I did want to show you this. Number one is the passage where they describe Bianca going up to her spaceship. I wish I had it here. Oh, here it is. The passage, Bianca's musings have taken her out of the vast reach of the Seven Trees conubation and on the closest anchor point, traveling swiftly by wire up the capsule. She's just going up to space. I don't need to get into the details, but I did want to show you this because I just love the fact that they can do this shit. And this is just an image of Lane when they get to the planet and she was about to die. And then the last one I got is just a space-suited spider when they describe spiders in space.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not how I picture them at all.
Yeah. So, but like,
because they have that what do they call it? Like the hyper silk or whatever.
Because this is very mechanical. It's not as silky, right? How Vitas is like very afraid of the spiders.
She's arachnophobic, isn't she?
Yeah. It's like one of those like I fucking can't live fears, and that is surrounding you. The way they describe Vitas at the end, it's so relatable. Because she's just like in the book, Holston compares Vitas to Kern because she's so robotic and so fucking stern, right? But and when they get to the place where the spiders are in her science lab, she goes from like this most robotic human being to like emotional breaking down with no like. It's crazy. It's crazy. Do you think this book should become a movie, a TV series, whatever? And if so, talk to me about who you would cast in which position.
So I had a lot of thoughts on. Well, thought number one, ain't no book or movie being made right now, and that's a red flag. That's a red flag.
Yeah.
Number two, this had better be a movie because as much as I love the spiders, ain't no way I'm watching 12-hour-long episodes about spiders talking to each other. Because I feel like the human parts wouldn't be that big of a part of the story.
Yeah,
if you ended up filming it, so I think it would have to be a movie.
Yeah, because
if we just out here watching spiders talk to each other, it's very hard to do. I would say,
like you see what like all of these VFX people are complaining about, right? And the entire spider world would have to be VFX. It would have to be CGI. Everything would have to be, right? So and you're right. It's like I'm just trying to think of like any movie or TV show that
it have to be like Avatar. It have to be like Avatar.
Exactly, it would have to be like Avatar, but
and that's like a $400 million budget.
Exactly. And my whole thing is like the blue people, the avatars, like they look so human like.
Yeah, they're so like, humanoid.
It's so humanoid. And like the biggest complaint people got from the remake of The Lion King was like, no one wants to see a fucking real life pig talk. It's disgusting to look at. Like Timon and Pumbaa are funny, but they're gross to look at. Could you imagine?
Even in like the Jungle Book, bro.
Yeah,
it's a snake. Why am I looking at a snake that's talking with a human mouth? Like, it's
crazy. It's crazy. So like turning this into a movie, a TV show would be wild because you would have entire episodes of just watching spiders talk to each other.
Up to a point, the spiders don't communicate. It's all like
nonverbal
for like a huge portion.
You're 100% right. It would be all subtitles. It'd be like, could you imagine? Yeah, no, this would be
it sounds like a nightmare to even film.
But if it was a movie, who would you cast into the human?
Let's see. I had some thoughts. Kern. Let's see. Kern. I had Cersei.
Oh yes. Yep. That's the perfect Kern. That's the perfect Kern. Yeah.
Holston. See, this is where I had Sterling K. Brown.
Okay.
But if you make this movie, that two big headliners have to be, I think Kern, Holston, and Nguyen. Let's say.
Yep.
Your stars. Lane. I had Lashana Lynch.
Beautiful. That's a fucking warrior. Beautiful.
I did have Viola Davis as Portia.
That would be perfect. To voice Portia.
Yeah.
Oh, I would take that all the way. Every single time. You hear and that's the thing when you say you really like the spiders in this, like Portia is like.
I think that would be the more important characters. Nguyen, I had there's not really that many old Asian actors, so I had Ken Watanabe.
Oh, he's great.
And Karst was. The dude from Stranger Things, the sheriff.
Oh yeah. Seven's dad who like adopts
Yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I know
yeah.
exactly who you're talking about.
I don't remember what his name was.
I know who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking about. I think everybody does too. I didn't even think about the difficulty of making this into a movie. I really do like the casting of that, what you have for this for the human beings, and I think that would be really dope.
At first, I didn't go that direction, but then when I pulled this thing up on IMDb, I was like, this book has been out since like 2015.
Yep.
Then no movement, nothing at all. I was like, that's weird.
But then, like, if you think about it, you're right. It's just too difficult. If you think about
it becomes so
Yeah, it would be very, very like if you wanted to do it right, it would be very, very, very difficult, right? And it's like very expensive. But I don't know. I didn't have like legitimate like the entire cast picked out. All I do know is, and the fact that you picked up that he was this older Asian dude was good. But I wanted Nguyen to be Idris. That's the only person I want.
That's exactly for me. If he wasn't an Asian character,
if he was described as that.
Yeah, I would have been Idris or like Benedict Cumberbatch or something.
Exactly. You want some fucking like someone who owns the screen, right?
Yeah.
Like very like I'm gonna listen to you no matter what.
Captain.
Yeah. And you can really see the power going to Idris's head. He's like, "This is fucking my airplane." Fucking he goes straight out of Hijack into the Gilgamesh. I like that. But yeah,
I mean, you could pick like Keanu Reeves as Nguyen. He can pass as Asian.
He could, but yeah, maybe. But I want something because Keanu Reeves.
That's a no, bro. That's a no.
Yeah, I'm not sold on that.
Actually, you know what? Oh, you know who? Actually, no, scrap that. You know who I choose as Nguyen?
Who?
Great actor, top 5 actor all time. The father in Shang-Chi.
Oh shit.
Great actor.
Yes. Yes. Now I'm just picturing him from Shang-Chi. The fact that he did live forever and he thought that he's the only one who, like, you can just see, and he does it right. He does it right, right? And he has the, like,
intensity,
the presence that you want to listen to this dude up until he takes that step too far. Any final words before we say goodbye?
I mean, for this book, what if there was no human section? It was all spiders.
If it was all spiders, I like what you're thinking about because you're right. The first part when the humans first land on Kern's planet, that was like, I agree with you, my favorite part of the book. And if we were to pretend that was the end of the human race for whatever reason, right? Yeah. Kern ends up using her laser on the Gilgamesh, the spiders and the ants kill the people who landed on the planet. I think it has so much more potential of being a better book because you are seeing the growth and the evolution of these spiders. The problem is you do need another big climax.
If there was no humans, there would have to be like another alien civilization shows up.
Yeah, no, but I was thinking that Kern would come to the realization that, oh my goodness, these are spiders. These are not monkeys. Let me kill. Let me extinguish all the spiders.
How did we skip that part? That was the other second best part.
When she comes to
landing, and then when she realizes, oh, these ain't monkeys.
Yeah, but like, because I can definitely see a situation where Kern is so egotistical, where Kern is the ultimate bad, and she's like, oh my goodness, these are not monkeys. I've got to extinguish the spiders and redo the monkeys. Like, I can see that being Kern's thought process. And then it would be an ultimate war between like the AI Kern versus the spiders.
Oh, you know what? What if you find after the humans are dead, they find out that not all the monkeys are dead.
Oh.
And there's like,
oh shit.
Some monkeys living on like the other side of the planet.
Oh, the other side just hanging out.
Yeah, chilling. And Kern like abandons the spiders
and
to go home.
Yeah. I think that was perfect. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you guys think about the human portion of Children of Time. Next time you see us, we'll be talking about the spiders, Portia, Fabian, Bianca, the whole fucking crew. And then we'll see what happens with the humans versus the spiders at the end of the war. But until then, we'll catch ya. Deuces.